and this diabolical thing called the indoor obstacle course. And it was exactly what it sounds like. It was an obstacle course inside that they ran every spring for the sophomores. We called them yearlings. First class was the plebes, the worst, the freshmen. Then there was the yearlings, the cows, and the firsties, and then they graduate and become an officer. But we had this 210-year-old building called Hayes Gym. And if anybody's seen like an old gym, like that has the track up in the rafters and it's got the pipes up in the ceiling, and it smells a little like mold and mildew and it's kind of musty. It was one of those. Anybody ever seen those? Like from old wrestling practice or something? It's like a boiler room with a track in the ceiling and a basketball court on the floor. And so what the Department of Military Science would do is they would set up an obstacle course on the basketball court, but they'd also build it into the ceiling to where there were multiple places where you had to climb ropes, get up shelves, pull-ups, monkey bars. It started out, you would hit the ground, do a low crawl for about 40 yards underneath barbed wire, go high feet through the tires like football practice, then hit a rope, climb to the ceiling, get up on the track, run around, swing down some bars, hit the ground, do 100 push-ups, fight your way through about 10 heavy bags, climb another rope, and then you had to run 2 laps around the top and to finish. There was always a trash can at the end, because you're gonna vomit. It's great. And so what happens is, if you run it, as a guy, if you run it in 3 minutes, you get an A. It's actually a grade for your transcript. 3 minutes and 15 seconds, you get a B, 3:30 is a C. After that, you're not gonna graduate, but you have to pass this course to graduate the academy. You can be a Rhodes Scholar with A+ and everything, and if you don't pass the IOCT, you're gone, they kick you out. So my friend Mike McCoy and I love to go down and watch the yearlings run the indoor obstacle course. Mostly sitting at the end watching them vomit. It's great. We video it and everything, put it on, load it up onto MySpace back then. Back then, Facebook, you could only have it if you had a .edu address for your email. And I was a TAC officer, so I had usma.edu, so I had an old school Facebook page to monitor my guys' activity. They didn't know it was me though, right? So we'd go down and watch these guys run it, and you'd see people running really good times, 2:30s, 2:45s, outstanding athletes. In the academy, the uniforms were a little different. They would run in black shorts, black top with gold letters. It was very distinctive that that class was the sophomore class running the course. So we'd hit our workout, then go watch them run, get a few laughs, go get something to eat. But one day, we had a pretty set routine where from about 5 to 7, we'd work out, hit the showers, go get some grub after working out. And this particular day, there wasn't a scheduled indoor obstacle course to be run. But we heard some commotion up in Hayes Gym, so we walked upstairs. And there was active duty soldiers on the floor getting ready to run the obstacle course. And that was kind of unusual. They were pretty easy to spot because they're wearing gray and black tops. They're wearing black pants, like the sweatpants that you wear for physical fitness training. And Mike and I, and believe it or not, despite what you see in front of you here today, I was in good shape. Mike and I had run this course a couple times just, on the side without anybody watching. He had run a 3:45 and I had run a 3:30, which I didn't feel was too bad for a guy in his early 30s who'd had a few company commands and a few deployments. So we noticed these guys, so we grabbed a Gatorade and we flopped down on the old bleachers. We pull them out from the side of the wall and sit down. We see these guys running the course. They're going underneath the barbed wire, they're going up and down the ropes, they're going through the heavy bags, they're puking in the trash can just like the cadets, but the times were crazy. The times are like 6 minutes, 5:30, 5:15. Like, well damn, Mike, you and I ran that better than those guys. They're active duty soldiers, man, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. So we finish. Not half mocking these guys, but we understand, like, man, this isn't very good times. These kind of suck. So let's go treat ourselves. Since we're feeling so good about ourselves right now, let's go to Subway and go get a styrofoam sandwich. You know those eggs they put on there? Yeah, they're styrofoam. So we cruise over to Subway, flop down, order our food, start eating. And outside the door, these two 15-passenger vans pull up, like an airport shuttle style. And NCOIC, a non-commissioned officer in charge in uniform, he gets off one of the vans, opens the door to the subway up, and people start getting off the passenger vans. And we notice it's the exact same guys who were just running the indoor obstacle course over at the gym. But they're not in uniform anymore. They're actually in civilian physical fitness attire, t-shirts, shorts, running shoes. And as they start walking into Subway, one by one, passing Mike and I at the table, going up to the counter to order their styrofoam sandwich, we noticed that there wasn't one of them that had legs. They all had the titanium legs. They weren't wearing pants this time, so it made sense why they were wearing the uniform while they were running the course. I couldn't eat. I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like a giant for judging them and feeling superior when what I was actually witnessing in that gymnasium was the single most incredible act of courage that I'd ever seen. But I was so stupid and short-sighted, all I saw was, oh, they're running pretty crappy times. So I walk over to the NCOIC, introduce myself, and I ask what's going on, like who are these guys? And this was half a platoon from Bravo Company, 3rd Ranger Battalion out of Fort Benning, whose 2 helicopters had crashed in Afghanistan. And all of them were amputees. Some of them didn't have a hand either. I said, well, what are they doing here at West Point, running the indoor obstacle course? He said, well, each one of them received discharge papers from the Department of the Army after their injuries when they were wounded in action. And they all said, no, we're not going. We want to stay in. So that's incredible. He says, no, you don't understand. They don't just want to stay in. They want to stay in. They want to go back to Bravo Company, 3rd Ranger Battalion, Fort Benning, and go back to Afghanistan and finish the job. I was blown away. The dedication and sacrifice and determination of those kids I saw there that day, not one of them older than 25 years old. It's been something that I revisit in my head every day of my life ever since, for the last 15 years. I shook each one of their hands. I left my styrofoam sandwich in the garbage, and I went home and rethought my life. The fact, I was so ashamed of the fact that I had been judging what I was watching that I just felt incredibly stupid, ignorant. And it's something that I think about every day. When you see somebody around you struggling, don't assume the worst. Assume that that person has something going on that you need to delve into and maybe get to know that person and try to make their life better. And see if you can actually affect a change with them instead of saying, well, their time really sucked. Let's go get a sandwich. That's really all I have to say, but in my mind, that story for me is one of those things that's like a big catcher's mitt in my head that whenever I'm having a hard day, the other 8, 7 rollbacks last week, whatever it was.
Yeah, you did.
You go back in your head and just fall back into that big catcher's mitt in your head and just say, well, son, you still got legs. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Grab the rest of this month by the throat and kick its ass. I want you to take a little bit of all of you back to your store today and understand the opportunity that's in front of you, because it's huge. Nobody gets to tell you what you're worth per hour. You get to tell yourself, and there's no ceiling. That's exciting to me. And when the day's going tough and it's hot and it's crappier, you don't think there's traffic, make a few more phone calls. Get the good legs that you have under you. Be grateful for what you have. Because like today, my wife's like, so you gotta go to work? I said, no, honey, I get to go to work. That's it.